Good afternoon, third graders. Rio Grande third graders, it's Miss Sunmyo, and we are going to take a look at week 9, day 3 of our DMA. So you'll notice that our first problem is a word problem, which means that we are going to have an answer statement. So let's go ahead and read. The movie theater has 500 seats. Miss Avery's class takes up 33 seats, and Miss Hamilton's class takes 27 seats. So this is the information that we know story problem. What we want to find out is how many seats are left for Mr. Daniel's class. So if you notice, we know the total number of seats that are in the theater. Part of those seats are going to be taken by Miss Avery's class. That's 33 seats. And Miss Hamilton's class is going to take 27 of those seats. We want to find out what's going to be left for Mr. Daniels. Now, if you think about 30, 20, 27 would round to 30, and 33 would round to 30, let's just say, about 60 seats that were taken up. Now, that's not even 100. So we're not even subtracting 100 from this 500 yet. So there's going to be quite a few seats left for Mr. Daniel's class. So if we were to think about this isn't even 100, we would say, okay, we know, if I were just going to draw myself a bar diagram here, I know that 500 seats are in the movie theater. So here are my 500 seats. Part of those seats are going to be taken by Miss Hamilton's class, or Miss Avery's class. And another part of that is Miss Hamilton's class, which is 27 more students. And we want to find out the part for Mr. Daniels. Now, if I have 500 seats and this is not even 100, that tells me that I have at least 400 for sure. Now, on the back, I'm going to write my answer statement. So if you notice, I have a day 3 here, and that gives me to show my work and write my answer statement. So we want to know how many seats are for Mr. Daniels. So Mr. Daniels class will be able to seat blank students because I, and then you're going to state what you did to solve your problem. So I'm going to come down here to the bottom, and I'm going to show my work down here. So I know that I have 500 seats total in the theater. Some of those I'm going to take away for Miss Daniel's class, or excuse me, Miss Avery's class, and some of them are going to be taken by Miss, oh, I forgot her name, Hamilton's class, right? And actually it's reversed. So this would be Miss Hamilton's class, and this would be Miss Avery's class, I believe. Oh, other way around. This is Miss Avery's class, and this is Miss Hamilton's class. Okay, so now I'm going to I could do one of two things. I could subtract these out separately, Or, to find what's left, I can add the two parts together and subtract from the whole. Since these two classes are going to be together anyway, when they come in, I can subtract when they come in what's going to be left after they've sat down. So, let's think about it that way. If I were to take my 20 and my 30 kids, that would be 50, and my 7 plus 3 is going to be 10, and together we're going to be 60 students. So when I take my 60 students from Miss Hamilton's, from the total seats, this is two classes together, then I'm going to be able to find what's left of the seats. So I don't even have 100, I have 500. I need at least just one of those hundreds to subtract. So if I were going to subtract, it might be easier for me to take out 100, subtract 60, and then put this 400 back with what's left. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take 100 minus 60. So 100 minus 60 is going to leave me with 40. And then I'm going to put that 400 back with the 40. Because that's what I broke it down as. 400 and another 100 makes your 500. So this would be 440 seats left. So to do that, I could put that down here. So basically what I'm doing is I'm borrowing 100, I'm grouping it here as 100. And I'm leaving those 400s there so that I can use it to add back to what's left from when I subtracted these 60 students or seats. Now I could also think about it as subtracting my tens away, or I could use my algorithm. Maybe we use that first. So I'm going to use my algorithm over here. So I have 500 total seats. I subtract 60 of those seats. I can subtract here. I have no ones left because 0 and 0 is 0. I'm borrowing 100, which is what I did here. And when I borrow, that means I have 10 tens. And 10 tens is the same as 100. I will have 4 tens left here. 4 hundredths left here. 6 tens minus from the 10 tens is going to leave me with 40, or 4 tens, and 4 hundredths can still remain 4 hundredths, which is what I did here when I put this number back together after I borrowed 100 from here to subtract it. So now I could say there are going to be 440 seats left because I added the students from the two classes, or from the two other classes, to make 60, then subtract the 60 from 100 that I borrowed, from 500. So 100 minus 60 equals 40. Then add 400 to 40 to get 440 seats left. Our next problem, so we could actually fill in this diagram with 440 here. And if I were to take 440, add 27 and 33 together, that should give me my 500 total seats. Now, our next problem is talking about money. Yolanda has $2.16. That's important information. Ruby gives Yolanda 3 dimes and 4 pennies. Now, Ruby is giving Yolanda more money. It's not Yolanda giving Ruby money, it's the opposite. Ruby is giving Yolanda money. So that tells us that we're going to have more money added on to Yolanda's amount. We've just got to figure out how much that is. So now it says, how much money does Yolanda have now? So we know she started off with $2.16. We have 2 $1 bills. So I'm just drawing a visual for myself just to help me visualize this. I know I have I know I have 1 dime and a nickel, which is 5 cents, and a penny, which is 1 cent. That's my 16 cents. Now I have 3 more dimes, which is going to be 30 more cents. And I have pennies, which is going to be 4 cents added on. So 30 and 4 makes 34 cents together. So we're adding on 34 more cents onto this $2.16. 30 plus 10 is 40. So this is going to be 40. 6 pennies plus 4 pennies is another 10 cents, which tells me now I've got 40 cents, but now I just was able to make another dime from the 6 pennies and the 4 pennies. So if I take my $2.16 and I add the 34 cents together, I'm going to realize that group N is going to be regrouped here as a 10 in the tens place. And so now, when I think about putting it together, I have 30 plus 10 is 3 plus 10 that I regrouped from the ones is another $1 now, or 40 cents. 40 cents, and now that 40 cents is going to be added with the $2 here. We aren't adding any dollars, so it's $2.40. $2.40. Now, you might want to do this on the back of your paper since you have a little bit more room to draw a visual there. Makes it a little easier if you have more room to work this out. Our next problem is an addition problem, and we are going to take this addend, we call this an addend because we add it, and we call this an addend because we add it, and we put those together and find a sum. It's called a sum. So this is called an addend and an addend. And when I put my addends together, I get a total sum. Now, in addition, it doesn't matter if you add them in a different order because when you put numbers together, you combine them, and it doesn't matter with the order that you combine But it does matter how you write them when you're subtracting, because these are two parts. We're not looking for a missing part. We're putting two parts together to get the total, which is the opposite of subtraction. So now we could take 279 and the 444, and if I were to take and line the place value as an algorithm, we can see that this is 9 ones and 4 more ones. If I add one more to 9, that would make a 10. And that would leave me with 3 ones from the 13. That 10 is going to be added to 70, which would make 80. Plus 2 more would be 90, 100, 110, 120. So the 20 stays in the tens place, and the 100 gets regrouped to the hundreds place. Now I have 400 plus 100 and 200 makes 723. So my total is 723. Now, if I were to use my add-on strategy and add on 200, I would have 644. I could take the 644 and add on 70. 70, remember 70 and 30 makes a new 100. So 70 and 40 would make 110, which now tells me that I have another 100 here to regroup. So this would be 710. Actually, it would be 714 because I still have a ones place here. And now I can take this 714 and add on my 9 ones here. Now, what might be easier for me to do mentally is add on a 10 and then take 1 away. Because what is 9? It's 10 minus 1. So if I add on a 10 to 10, that would be 724, minus 1 would be 723. And again, these match when I work them out. So several different ways you can think about it. Round to the nearest 10. So 491 either rounds to 490, or the next 10 would be 500. Because if we're counting by tens, multiples of 10, we know that 500 is our next group of 10. Remember, between tens is 5. So right in the middle would be 495. 491 is going to be right about here. So remember, if the ones place is less than 5, we are going to round down. If the ones place is greater than 5 when we round to the nearest 10, then we're going to round up. So we know that 491 rounds to 490. 203 is between 200, because there are no 10s here. But if we count up another group of 10, it's between 200 and 210. 205 is right in the middle. 203 is going to be less than the 205. So we know that we're going to round down. And when we add this together, we're adding 2 more hundreds to these 400s. That's 490. So when we add 491 plus 203, it's about 690. So let's look for the exact sum. The exact sum, when I add 200, is going to be 691, and then I take that 691 and add 3 more. So that would be 694. So is 694 close to 690, which is our estimate rounded? Yeah. So we know that 694 is close to or about 690. So remember, we're rounding to the nearest 10, then we're adding. So that's day 3 of our DMA, week 9. And we'll come back tomorrow for day 4, which is going to be Thursday. Have a great afternoon.